East Week presented by Lowe's continues with the second semifinal of the day at BA Sports Maui Invitational. Number 10 Duke takes on Illinois inside the sold-out Lahaina Civic Center. The winner will meet Marquette in the EA Sports Maui Invitational Championship game tomorrow night. The Golden Eagles moments ago hammered Oklahoma State by 30. Aloha everyone, welcome back to Maui. Sean McDonough along with Jay Billis and Bill Raftery. And both of these teams, Duke and Illinois, demonstrated yesterday they were ready to go right from the opening tip. Duke jumped out ahead of Princeton 31-4, and Illinois was ahead of Arizona State 20-0. They were very impressive.
I was really impressed with Illinois. They play great defense. They are deep. They are very athletic, and they are big. They have a lot of size, which Duke does not have a lot of. The question is, they've got a lot of new pieces. Can they handle the pressure? I think Chester Frazier is going to be very important in keeping this team together.
And Sean, Duke, I just think that perimeter defense is exceptional. Of course, he misses a guy like the big fella inside, but they got some young people who can really stretch the defense, compete, and can shoot it outside. I just love their pressure defense.
And as we look at Star Watch, the two players we feature each had his career high in the win yesterday.
Well, Kyle Singler out of Medford, Oregon, a complete player, magnificent, especially in the first half against Princeton. Staked Duke out to that big lead. Hardly missed in the first half.
When you said Brian Randall, in the past it was all about his great defense. Well, now he's stepping up. He's attacking the rim. He's putting it on the floor. He is a tough competitor, and as you noted, 17 points, a career high.
The lineups brought to you by Dish Network. Duke is 3-0 with Greg Paulus running the point with Gerald Henderson, DeMarcus Nelson, the captain, the outstanding freshman Singler, and Lance Thomas, the sophomore. And Illinois also 3-0 with Trent Meacham, the two-guard, Chester Frazier at the point. Rodney Alexander was really the one who fueled that early 20-0 run yesterday against Arizona State with Randall and Pruitt, a dynamic duo up front. Duke coached by Mike Krzyzewski, 705 wins at Duke, 778 all-time, one more, and he'll tie the former Illinois coach Lou Henson for 8th all-time. And Illinois is coached by Bruce Weber in his 5th season. He's won more than 80% of his games as head coach of the Illini. He is the first coach in Big Ten history to win outright conference titles in his first 2 years as a head coach in the conference. There are the fast starts we alluded to last night. We'll see which team can get the jump or if they'll play to a standstill early on. Mark Whitehead, Scott Thornley, and John Hughes are the officials. Illinois in the orange. And Duke in the blue. Where's that black? It's a very dark blue. It's your school.
That is black.
That looks black.
And right now, Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, Duke goes.
Trent Meacham goes inside right away to Randall off his 17-point performance last night. He's shoved by Gerald Henderson.
And that is a tough match, I think, for Henderson. Particularly they slip him inside those long arms and he can elevate.
Well, Illinois has some tough guards, and none tougher in the country than Chester Frazier. If he's able to run this team and handle pressure, they're going to get some open opportunities. Great look off the inbound, and Randall, when he's healthy, boy, this is a terrific Illinois team.
Now, you mentioned the defense of Frazier. Paulus is on him. I think he's really been fresh legs, playing great, shooting the ball extremely well. And I think he'll rise to the occasion.
Well, that's what Paulus does. He is an excellent shooter, and they want him to take open shots.
Frazier called for his first foul. Illinois leads 2-0. This is the largest lead of the game for either team. Henderson knocks it in. He's off to a terrific start this year in double figures in all three. Meacham slipped and his shot wouldn't go. But the follow-up activity will result in a trip to the line for Rodney Alexander, who had 17 points in 27 minutes.
Now this kid, 59% field goal percentage in junior college. And they get the ball down the floor quickly. Almost caught Duke asleep.
Well, even after a made field goal, They're going to inbound the ball quickly, and Frazier immediately looked to pass ahead. And Meacham looked like he had his foot slip out from under him, couldn't get any elevation, but Illinois right there for the offensive rebound. And I think that's where this team really needs to attack, is on the glass, because they do have a size advantage.
Alexander made two. He made an immediate impression when he arrived from junior college over the summer. Played in some pickup games in June with Luther Head, now in the NBA with the Rockets. And Luther Head told Bruce Weber he was very impressed by what he saw from Rodney Alexander.
Randall on Sigler. I mean, this kid really can guard.
It's a great matchup. He moves his feet. He's long-armed and a very good athlete.
Frazier, junior from Baltimore, out of a very tough neighborhood. Grew up surrounded by crime and drugs. Meacham dumped it off. Dan Pruitt gets it to roll in.
He's really improved over the years, using that rim, knowing exactly where the defense is and warding it off at the rim.
It's averaging 12 per game, and a dunk by DeMarcus Nelson.
Come back down, please. Was that strong?
Well, Lance Thomas going out to set a ball screen. It was refused. That pulls Pruitt away from the basket. They're going to get him involved in screening action on the perimeter.
Duke looking to run more this year, and it has paid off for them. In their 3 wins, they've scored 97 points per game. They averaged only 70 per game last year. They were last in scoring in the ACC.
I'll tell you, nice job by Paulus last trip, containing the bounce on Frazier, getting the turnover.
Yeah, these are really mirror image programs over the last 4 years. Not just their records, but the way they play. Hard defense, man-to-man, motion offense for the most part.
Alexander a miss, and it was last touched by Pruitt.
Getting good support here with the pinch and then the eventual run out, and good poise at the other end. Here you go, Jay. Salaveda.
Yeah, just the refusal off the ball screen, but that pulled Pruitt away from the basket. I think that's going to be a consistent theme.
Singler. Strong drive, but he couldn't finish. He's off to a tremendous start in his freshman season with his best performance yesterday against Princeton. 21 points and 12 rebounds. He had 9 offensive rebounds, did Singler, the most ever in a game by a Duke freshman.
Illinois really runs their motion, back screen, down screen, reverse the ball. Look at this nice little post entry.
Shot clock at 10. Meacham a little bit off with the shot, and then Alexander fouled DeMarcus Nelson. First foul on Rodney Alexander. He's from Benton Harbor, Michigan. High school teammate of Wilson Chandler, who started at DePaul and was drafted by the Knicks. Six to 4 Illinois. 7th meeting all time between these two. Duke leads the series 4-2. The last meeting was in the Sweet 16 of the 2004 NCAA tournament in Atlanta, and Duke won it by 10.
Look at the spread floor off the penetration.
I'll tell you, Randall just did a great job taking Singler out of the action.
Well, Chester Frazier really does a nice job of keeping his head up and looking to pass ahead.
They got a hold, I think, by Paulus. Yeah. The only way, the little switch, he had to take Pruitt. Just too tough for him.
Paulus called for his first foul and the team's third. 4th appearance for Duke in the Maui Invitational. They've never lost. 10-0 here all time with their win last night over Princeton. Frazier. And Pruitt went over the back trying to dunk, and he gets called for the foul as Nelson had inside position. The first foul on the 6'10 senior Sean Pruitt out of Aurora, Illinois.
It's like one of those pickup game fouls. You know, you don't call it to let it play on.
John Shire in for Duke.
Illinois needs to look to drive the ball, put it on the floor, and create some help and recover situations.
Singler from Oregon, from an athletic family. His dad a quarterback at Oregon State. His mom was a basketball player for the Beavers.
Nice.
Paulus to Thomas for the wide open dunk.
You know, Sean, he read that on this side of the floor. He knew where the defense was. What a read by Paulus. Speaking of quarterbacks.
And helped with great spacing. Everybody staying wide for Duke.
Paulus was a great high school quarterback, the National Football Player of the Year in 2004. Threw for more than 11,000 yards in high school at Christian Brothers in Syracuse, New York. Fouls on Singler, his first. Tied at 6 in our first media timeout.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by NCAA March Madness 2008. Download the demo on Xbox Live Marketplace. The stylish 2008 Mercury Milan. Mercury, new doors opened. And Dish Network. Get the most HD channels and the best HD DVR available from Dish Network.
Back on the island of Maui, the second largest of the Hawaiian Islands, 729 square miles of spectacular beauty. And we've seen some beautiful basketball from these two teams these two nights.
Little, almost a flex cut and then a screen for the screener. And after the screen is set, Paulus just dribbles it out, and Lance Thomas gets Sean Pruitt on the top side of him and seals him off. If there were better pressure on the ball, that pass wouldn't have got through, but Chester Frazier a little bit late. That's not Illinois' best defense, but good execution by Duke.
A nice read, too, by the point guard, huh?
Solid read by Greg Paulus, who's a very good passer. I think Chester Frazier, you're going to see him put more pressure on the ball, and that pass is going to be harder and harder as the game goes along.
Brian Randall, 17 points, a career high. I was surprised that that was a career high. I thought he might have had more than that. He had 2 games previously of 16 points in his career.
He's so valuable in so many other areas. Bill mentioned his prowess as a defender. I think he's one of the top defenders in the country. He's every bit as good a defender in my judgment as Marcus Dove from Oklahoma State. I mean, you can name a bunch of other guys, but boy, they're really calling holes. If you're going to bump a cutter, they just got Dimitri McCamey for holding John Shire, who played in high school at Glenbrook North for Bruce Weber's brother.
Are they speaking?
His brother.
He gets Shire. And they got another hold here. Sean, you mentioned on Randall, there's so many good players when he was there. He just did what he had to do, so he wasn't looking to score.
Alexander with 2 fouls. Calvin Brock's going to come in. Bruce Weber wanted to get him in the game before the ball was inbounded, but it's too late. So here's Frazier on the push. The guards were tremendous for Illinois last night. McCamey off the bench missed it. Alexander a miss, and Pruitt the tip in.
They're collapsing the defense under the rim. They're going to have to stick them a little further out, the Duke players.
Nelson, with Singler trying to set up inside, but he was well guarded by Brian Randall. Nelson.
Well, that's his game, is to put the ball on the floor and drive it.
How about with power? Oh, the dexterity to get by.
Can't pick your dribble up there.
Frazier and Meacham, the starting guards, had 9 assists last night against Arizona State and no turnovers. And it's Frazier at 6'2" in amongst the tall trees to score inside.
Well, Illinois is really beating Duke off the offensive glass, and that's what this team does. They have good size, they rebound the ball well, and they pursue it. You have to box them out on every opportunity. They'll exploit you.
And Nelson so quick into the lane, got to the rim, but did not score. Out of bounds to Duke.
That's just a shame. Pruitt came down on a Duke body and then turned it over.
Those are tough ones.
Yeah, they are. I mean, did everything right.
Did everything right. And you wonder if sometimes the referees don't want to call a foul on that when a guy's on the floor. One of those gray areas.
But watch the fight between Randall and Singler. I mean, he's not getting touches because of Randall's great length. 5 seconds.
5-second call or a timeout?
They called 5 seconds.
I don't think the teams know that. They think there was a timeout. The official saying no, it's a 5-second call. Well, Mark Whitehead, the official, could have been a lot more demonstrative about it.
Well, he raised all 5 fingers.
Yes, he did, but nobody seemed to understand what he was saying. They all ran off the court while he just still had his 5 fingers in the air.
Well, we'll give the refs a mic next year.
Ryan Zubek is in for Duke, as is Nolan Smith. It was Smith who couldn't get the ball in bounds. And here's Brock, one of the heroes of their win Friday night against Hawaii. He hit the shot with 5 seconds to go that gave him the 2-point win. Pruitt, the dunk.
How about Randall creating unselfish draw? Get the eyes attracted to you and give it up.
Illinois has to keep putting the ball on the floor and driving it. They can get good things if they do.
They lead by 6, the largest lead of the game. Nolan Smith for 3. The freshman from Upper Marlboro, Maryland, the son of the late Derek Smith, who was a fine player for Louisville on their 1980 NCAA championship team.
A little silencer with that drill jumper.
Tragically, Nolan Smith's dad passed away in 1986 when Nolan was 7 years old. His dad had a heart attack while on a cruise. Tough shot by Randall, drew no rim, and Zubek at 7-1 the rebound.
A different energy on the floor with Nolan Smith guarding the ball. He really can put pressure on the ball.
Nice entry.
And Zubek the finish.
He's going to help them on the big teams. He's a great target, Zubek, and a wonderful entry pass.
Zubek gave them 10 good minutes last night against Princeton. Scored 6 points. Timeout. It's a 1-point game. High level of play here in the first 7.5 minutes. Illinois with a 1-point lead over Duke.
Two teams, a great move to get free initially, and then the duck in right there, Jay. And Pruitt sort of gave up on it.
Well, Pruitt was standing straight up, just wasn't prepared. It was almost like he didn't have respect for Zubek because he's not a great athlete right now, and he's been struggling a little bit since that foot surgery. But you've got to be down in a stance, playing up the line, and deny that flash pivot.
And Sean Tisdale in the game as well. It's a pretty good matchup for Zubek, except he's got to come out and play him deep.
That's 7-1 against 7-1 as Mike Tisdale's come in for Illinois, number 54. Calvin Brock with his first bucket of the game.
Calvin Brock looks like a different player on this young season. Another steal by Brock.
Give it up.
3-on-2.
Pretty give back.
And the acrobatic shot by Randall did not drop. And it's gathered in by Shire, the sophomore from Northbrook, Illinois. Shire scored in double figures in every game, all 3 this year. For Duke, Henderson fouled, and he'll go to the line. Illinois by 3.
Dunks. Unbelievable shots. Primetime players. Rivalries. And buzzer beaters.
And Louisville tops Marquette.
This is what college basketball is all about. Follow all the drama and excitement on the hardwood all season long. Only on ESPN.
You know, this has been a feast of excellent basketball here for the first 8 minutes plus. 2 of the winningest teams in the country in recent years. Matter of fact, from 2003 through the present, a 3-way tie now for most wins in Division I: Duke, Illinois, and Florida, with John Calipari's Memphis Tigers right behind.
Now, I assume they're doing that by alphabetical order because Florida, you got to put those 2 national titles up top, even though they're all tied at 112. But it speaks to the fact that the 2 programs we're seeing on the floor aren't just teams from year to year. They are programs, and great programs.
We all know about Mike and his record and his contributions Tark the other day said, you know that guy from Illinois, Jerry Tarkane, that is, who's in the audience, he said he can really coach, which is pretty high praise from a great coach himself.
Well, he's right, because
I don't think Bruce Weber's got enough credit.
No way, not even close. He's not a self-promoter, but what he's done is taken the Illinois program to the next level, and he's kept it there.
Took them to the national championship game for the first time in the history of the school in 2005. Lost to Carolina in the championship game. Henderson's free throws and made it a one-point game. Those were the first free throw attempts of the night for Duke. Henderson has 4. Brock missed the pull-up. Randall trying to fight through the traffic, and Taylor King blocked it. The freshman just into the ball game.
Everything is challenged. And Illinois continuing to go after offensive rebounds. Those will be there if they go hard.
Meacham to play it in with Frazier, Brock, Tisdale, and Randall. And Tisdale can make that shot.
Yep, he sure can. And if they pop him out, it's a long way for Zubek to come.
Randall just about had another offensive board, but Shire knocked it away.
Oh, is he something?
Oh, and Randall denied Henderson, who went gracefully to the rim, only to be turned away. Brock blocked at the other end by Nolan Smith. Jay, did you say everything is being contested?
Are there any athletes in this gym randallized at the rim? I thought this was a completion. Incredible.
A meeting at the summit, and then on the other end, you double clutch. And they'll send it back. What defense?
Proving you don't have to be tall to be a shot blocker. Nolan Smith tried to block another. He's just 6'2". That time he fouled Frazier, I believe, was shooting a 3.
It's one of the cardinal sins of basketball is fouling jump shooters. You want to put pressure on the shot, but you don't want to foul, and give Chester Frazier a lot of credit for drawing that foul. I tell you, this is one tough kid.
He got out there just a little bit late on the D and paid for it.
We mentioned his very difficult background, and Bruce Weber says he deserves a lot of credit to be the kind of young man that he is, coming from where he came when there were a lot of temptations to do the wrong thing. Steve Holdren into the ball game, and Alexander goes out. Holdren, first year active at Illinois as a transfer from South Dakota State. He spent the last couple of years rehabbing a torn ACL.
And he hustles Sean. He can spread for a 3, particularly in transition.
A lot of whistles away from the ball here.
Holdren with a little small change.
That didn't take long. Bruce Weber wants Holdren's defense to improve if he's really going to earn major minutes on this very deep Illinois team. All 15 players who made the trip played against Arizona State last night. There didn't seem to be much drop-off no matter who they put in the game.
Well, they have so many bodies, so many athletic bodies, and it's made practices much more competitive for Illinois, and that's just going to make them better as a team throughout the season.
We didn't see much of Bill Cole last night. I really think he's a talented kid, deep and stocked.
Smith made the first of a 1-and-1. Randall returns, and Pruitt comes back in as well. Tisdale goes out. Tisdale says he has really benefited from practicing against Pruitt and Randall.
Well, Bruce Weber wanting to match up with Singler and Thomas, with 2 of his best interior players.
Now that will get you better, though, Sean. Playing guys that have been in the league 4 and 5 years, the league being the Big Ten. The experience.
Smith out after the free throws. Paulus has returned for Duke. Meacham with Brock, Frazier, Pruitt, and Randall for Illinois, leading by a point.
They really took that little sweeping hook away with the double by Paulus.
Meacham just couldn't get out of the corner. Frazier nearly walked. Shot clock at 8. Brock, shot contested by Henderson. Singler the other way for Duke. with Henderson, Thomas, Nelson, and Paulus.
Look at him move his feet. That's amazing.
And great dribble moves to boot. I mean, he was taken away. Watch this recovery.
The spin move, and he moves his feet, recovers, and blocks the shot with the left hand.
And the long arm of the law, the lefty. Southpawing it out.
That's National Defensive Player of the Year stuff right there.
Randall, one of 4 lefties on their team. Bruce Weber says all he needs to do is relax and play. Randall has a tendency to think too much. Nelson, bumped by Meacham. Boy, he is so strong to the goal. He'll have a chance for a 3-point play.
He's going to win that battle chest to chest. He's going to empty the area, vacate with some strength.
Well, he's so long-armed. He's got a wingspan of 7 feet, and he combines his athleticism with his strength, gets to the rim, and with his length does a good job of finishing. That's one of the reasons he's such a good defender as well, is because of his length and his strength.
And Sean, Mike Krzyzewski said he finally got a really talented kid out of California.
Chris J. Billis out of California. Nelson, the all-time leading scorer in the history of the state.
A 2-3 zone now by Duke.
Now this is the influence, as you noted, Sean, of Jim Boeheim.
Yep, play a little zone. Jim Boeheim, an assistant to Mike Krzyzewski on the national team. And they play zone, frequently called orange. Haney went inside, had it blocked.
Illinois saw a lot of zone against Arizona State and handled it very well.
Singler. The Illinois fans want to walk. They're not going to get it. They're going to get a foul on Randall instead.
Well, he's got some spice in his game, though, Singler. He spun out on that baseline against a extremely difficult defender. We saw the dribble move. This is just great skill level. I mean, to get by, no question about the bump either prior to.
And kept his feet. Looked like he got away with a little bit of a hook, but a terrific move by Kyle Singler, who has a lot of chops for a first-year player.
And Mike Krzyzewski says he has no weak area, chance to be special. He's been an excellent free throw shooter. Now 11 out of 12 from the line as a college player. He had 17 points in the first half last night as they blitzed Princeton right for the opening tip.
Of course, these tournaments are great for all the teams. You know, Princeton will get better for their Ivy League. That's the part of it. You can't have all supers in an event like this. They don't want to come in and get whacked around.
Well, I think we've seen 3 teams out of the 8 here who have demonstrated they are already ready to play at a high level. Marquette, with what they did today, and these 2 teams, Duke and Illinois, have been impressive both nights. Thomas deflected the pass out of bounds.
Yeah, Illinois needs to make some pass fakes against this zone. Get it moving and then get somebody in the middle. Remember, against Arizona State, they did a great job of flashing big guys into the middle, collapsing the zone, either shooting it or kicking it out.
Illinois has missed its last 7 shots. Duke has capitalized. They're on a 7-0 run.
There's the middle.
Frazier for 3.
Now that's 2 trips and a giveaway by Pruitt. The zone gets tougher if you don't knock them down.
Boy, Illinois is piling up some fouls.
That's 2 on Pruitt. They'll go to the other end of the shoot, and we'll tell you about ESPN2 college basketball tomorrow night, a doubleheader from the Dick's Sporting Goods NIT season tip-off at 7 Eastern, Washington and Texas A&M, and at 9 at Syracuse and Ohio State, a part of Feast Week. Presented by Lowe's on ESPN2 tomorrow night. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Bruce Weber not happy. His team's been called for 10 fouls in the first 11 minutes plus. Well, the free throw.
The ref emeritus, Jay Billis, was talking about the hook, and then Bruce Weber just picked it up, too. That's what he was discussing on Singler. Over in the basket.
Well, maybe he's a good official, too. We should all be wearing stripes.
Oh, why not?
They're slimming.
Duke 9 out of 9 from the line. That's really the difference in the ball game. They were down by 6. Now the Blue Devils are ahead by 6.
Now Mike was saying He doesn't know if they make a couple if he would stay in. And so thus far, they haven't made any. They being Illinois.
Brock from the elbow.
That's 3 in a row without anything against the zone. Jimmy Boeheim up in Syracuse smiling.
Krzyzewski borrowing from his assistant Boeheim on the defensive end, and from Mike D'Antoni, the Phoenix Suns coach, another of his assistants on the Olympic team. He's taken some offensive principles. Lance Thomas showing nice maneuverability inside.
Took the big guy Tisdale to school with a great drop step completion.
Duke on an 11-0 run as Illinois is 0 for 9.
That's the footwork that Lance Thomas worked on all summer long when he was in Houston working with John Lucas.
Randall a 3 to end the drought and the Duke run. 7 points for Brian Randall.
Boy, the confidence level of Brian Randall just seems so high this season. And he's healthy. That's a big reason.
Fifth-year senior out of East Peoria, Illinois. Is Randall. Nelson started to maneuver, and Brock fouled him. The first on Calvin. It is a double bonus. Nelson will shoot when we come back to Maui. Bruce Weber and Illinois won 23 games last year despite a rash of injuries. They lost 58 man games due to injury. And even Bruce Weber's dog had ACL difficulties. Daisy. There's Daisy with Emily and Hannah, 2 of Bruce Weber's 3 daughters.
Sean's sad stories have gone to the dogs.
Yeah, you know, when you have a dog and it needs surgery, it's expensive. I mean, that's the demonstration of the great love for Daisy that they elected to undergo ACL and MCL surgery. We're happy to report recovery has gone well.
That's a new perk for coaches, maybe.
That's what Bruce had to say about it.
She tore her ACL, and you know, we went back and forth. We ended up having the surgery. She did therapy, U of I vet school, unbelievable, underwater treadmill to recovery, and to top it off, she makes a great recovery, comes back, walking. I do the walks with both our dogs all the time, and then she tears the other one, the other back leg, not only the ACL, the MCL, now has to have another surgery, and so, you know, when you think it gets bad, it got worse.
I think Daisy's got a red shirt.
Yeah, Daisy's a gamer.
Well, being a dog lover like I am, I can commiserate, particularly financially.
We've been trying to get you to work out on that underwater treadmill.
And not come up.
Randall a miss. Illinois has gone cold. They had a 6-point lead. They're down by 7 with 7 minutes to go.
That's deep and soft.
And they're going to count it.
They got one going the other way on the rebound.
But the basket is good. And then a foul against Duke. Like Bruce Weber and his staff were very upset heading into that last timeout and had to be warned to pipe down by the officials.
Well, that was effortless from that deep. Yeah, well, that's a good sign.
He's a good shooter.
He is.
They got Lance Thomas with the elbow pushing off.
You know, having been down in Carroll, people don't realize that Paulus was nicked. You know?
Oh, he had a bad wheel last year. Made it that much more difficult. He couldn't prepare for the season the same way. I mean, he's a good player. I think he's been criticized to the nth degree.
Last foul's on Lance Thomas, his second and the team's 6th. Illinois won for its last 11. Meacham, who hasn't shot very much in these 2 games, missed out of the corner. And Shire the push.
Duke's been switching some screens.
Yeah,
on
I
the
noticed
defensive
that.
end, so Illinois needs to start looking at some slip opportunities.
Shire, the pull-up, and it falls.
How about that? He's a good offensive player. Little kiss.
You really have to close out under control, otherwise they're going to drive by you.
Tisdale. We've heard his teammates compare him to Dirk Nowitzki, a big guy who can play inside or out. And Luther Head, when he was working out with the team this summer, said Tisdale reminded him of Yao Ming with the hook shot.
Well, he's got a long way to go, but he can shoot it. You're right. Nice seal.
By Singler.
What a great duck in by Singler. The timing, and against a really good defender in Brian Randall.
He's so fundamentally sound.
First field goal of the game for Singler, the ACC preseason Rookie of the Year. Randall fouled.
You can't just throw the ball around the perimeter against Duke. You've really got to put the ball on the floor and drive it, make them help and recover.
2 fouls on Singler.
You know, we got into that bench decorum thing the other night.
We did?
Well, Jay did.
Yes.
You know, I think the referees have handled it well. I mean, they're letting coaches talk. You know, we had one incident where you almost left your seat. We had to restrain you.
No, I mean, the referees, it's not the referee's fault. It's the directive that they're getting. I mean, that this is now a point of emphasis.
Thanks for bringing this up, Bill.
It's a point of emphasis, and they're going to be, you know, their advancement in the NCAA tournament is going to be in part dependent on how they handle bench decorum. Oh,
great effort. Brock on the floor, as was Zubek. And the ball will go over to Duke.
Boy, you love the big guy getting down. I know you didn't have any floor burns in your heyday, Jay, but the big fella offering it all up. Look at that. It's the basketball back for his team.
Mark Whitehead, one of the officials, is over the scorer's table, not quite certain what the issue is. The clock stopped with 5:13 to go in the half, and Duke up 35-23.
He's got two. He's not going.
Well, once again, the matching golf shirts, different color today. For Duke, they've got about 17 people on the bench in those golf shirts. Big golf shirt budget.
Very uniform looking now.
You know, the managers, the medical staff.
Well, the managers hustle. They're incredible. The effort they expend.
Boy, so did Illinois' managers. I mean, the way they work during practice and giving noise to simulate crowd noise.
I heard the boo, but I thought that was for you when you walked in.
It was. That's why I got a little louder. Shire, Holden trying to defend. Paulus, Shire, Nelson. Henderson and Zubek now for Duke. Paulus using a Zubek screen.
Nice save by the big guy.
Out of bounds to Illinois with Frazier, Holdren, Alexander, Randall, and Tisdale on the court for the Illini. Just under 5 minutes to go in the half. Duke has come from 6 down to take a 12-point lead.
You know, the zone really turned this game a little bit in their favor. Now, of course, they went back to man, as Jay mentioned, this automatic switches.
You think when Hyman won all these games, if the zone was such a bad idea?
No, it's just a lot of people don't stay with it like Jim will. You know, they get a couple of shots in and they get concerned. It's tough. Particularly if your philosophy is man, as Mike's is.
Well, it's not the defense, it's how you play it.
Another pearl.
I mean, you make it sound like you switch to a zone, all of a sudden, you know, the
Randall, I think.
Would you like to finish your soliloquy, Senator? Oh. It is the second foul on Randall.
I wonder if they'll get him out.
I don't think they can afford to take him out. He's too valuable. He just has to, he's a fifth-year senior. He has to use his experience to make sure he doesn't pick up a cheap third one.
Well, the key is the referee experience.
Nelson, the handoff for Shire. He's guarded by Alexander. Now Henderson, son of Gerald Henderson, a 13-year NBA pro.
Oh, he got it on Randall.
So much for that, huh?
Wow.
Yep, they let him stay in, and he very quickly got the third foul. And will come out now as Calvin Brock has come to the table to check in.
The forceful nature on the perimeter of Nelson and him, it's extraordinary, Jay. We mentioned earlier that we get low on the dribble, but the power, it just moves people.
Well, so strong and athletic, he just dipped that shoulder and intelligently going after the best player that is in foul trouble.
Henderson missed the first. He could improve as a free throw shooter. 63% from the line last year for Gerald Henderson. Randall to the bench with the 3 fouls.
Well, that was a huge play in this game.
First miss from the line for Duke. 11 out of 12, 11 out of 13, but it's Nelson. Blocked by Alexander. And tracked down in the corner by Frazier.
Well, you got to be quick in this game anymore.
And Frazier lost it off his leg. Henderson has Nelson on the wing. Nelson laid it in with Brock backing off.
Squared up beautifully. Very tough angle. Aggressive in nature. Terrific climax.
And 11 for Nelson. The lead is 14 for Duke, their largest. Timeout, Illinois. 3:47 to go till halftime.
Kick it out and go, Jay.
Keeping his head up off the dribble, passing ahead, and Nelson with that long wingspan continues to attack the rim. And when Duke gets you in a little bit of foul trouble, boy, they love to continue to attack and go to the free throw line.
One of the big stories of this college basketball season, the great freshmen. We'll see two of the best in the country on display on ESPN2 Thursday night. Michael Beasley in Kansas State against George Mason in the Old Spice Classic at 9 Eastern Time. And at midnight, O.J. Mayo and the USC Trojans against the Toreros of San Diego in the Anaheim Classic. The Old Spice Classic and Anaheim Classic are a part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's on ESPN2 Thursday.
Here's some of the best freshmen, not all of them, in the country. Michael Beasley has put up incredible numbers. 30 points per game, 20 rebounds, almost half of those offensive. And we talked about O.J. Mayo. He is the complete package. We saw James Anderson here in Maui at Oklahoma State. There's so many great freshmen. Kevin Love at UCLA put up a double-double last night against Maryland.
Too late. He had him and then threw too late. One-handed. Can't get it back.
Shire and Henderson, the dunk with Alexander right there.
Send it in. Oh, is that explosive?
Better pick up that dribble.
Well, really extending the pressure. No threat going to the hole. Look at the shot they end up with.
Yeah, holding the miss, but Brock inside. Calvin just 6'5", redshirt junior out of Chicago, Simeon High School. He has 4 off the bench. It's still a 21-7 run for Duke.
This basket's still got to be shaking after that Henderson dunk.
Oh, that was incredible. And the quickness off the floor.
Now trying to score from 3, showing his versatility. Boy, he is an impressive-looking athlete.
Well, that reminds me of his dad. The dunk did not.
Just a smoothness to the way he goes after things, and power as well. That elevator got up awfully quickly to the top floor.
Rick Cobb was the elevator man. Played for Al McGuire. Pretty current for me, Sean.
Yeah. Consider your elevator doesn't always go all the way to the top. Tisdale the fadeaway.
It will if I push your button.
4 points for Tisdale, the freshman from Riverton, Illinois, a small town. And Bruce Weber says he's a small town kid, but his personality has blossomed a lot faster than he might have anticipated. Carey the call against Nolan Smith. And a timeout.
It's nice to have somebody in the building whose personality has blossomed.
Just by 15 late in the half.
Scott Reese in the studio, ahead on the UPS halftime report. Great freshmen across the ledger. Michigan State getting a whole lot of love in KC. Eric Gordon goes off for Indiana. And let us introduce you to Kostas Koufos of Ohio State. It's all coming up just a few minutes from now. Sean?
All right, Scott, thank you. Illinois with just 9 points over the last 9 minutes. And as a result, Duke has opened up a 15-point lead, 42-27. Duke's been putting up big points against lesser foes, but this is impressive. 42 against a team that defends like Illinois. Still room to go till the half.
But Mike's really got some depth to play with this year, though. they're fresh. They can push the ball. And obviously putting it on the deck and attacking the tin, Jay Bird.
Well, the way they turn the corner and Duke running this Phoenix Suns style offense, they keep the floor spread. They attack closeouts very well, and they're so athletic and do such a good job off the dribble. It's hard to stay in front of them.
And the young team, only one senior for the second year in a row. Last year, Duke 22-11, but the first round upset loss against VCU. Shortest stay in the NCAA tournament more than a decade. And Illinois attacking the bucket. And it's Mike Davis, the freshman from Alexandria, Virginia, just into the game with his first point.
Big minute and a half for Illinois. If they can get this lead down to under 10, we're going to have a heck of a second half.
Break you down, don't they? Look at this. Carte blanche. Henderson style.
Gerald Henderson was hampered last season by asthma that would pop up from time to time, limit his minutes. Mike Krzyzewski was telling us from time to time last year was quite scary watching him really struggle to breathe. They've done some work with him in the offseason medically. They've dealt with that. Brock buries a three.
Pretty good little
Illinois fans are great, and they're trying to help their team get back into it.
Pretty good little comeback.
Big defensive possession right now for Illinois.
Shire needed to be careful, almost used the free arm to shove Alexander.
He's very good with the ball, though. He leaves the guards to play or call a timeout.
With 14 to shoot, with 22.8 left in the half. Well, Mike Krzyzewski told us when we visited with him here the other day, he really likes his team, and he thinks his team likes the style that they're playing, and we can see why on both fronts.
Yeah, it's a departure for them. They're no longer crossing underneath on the break. They're fading into the corners, trying to keep things more spread, a lot more secondary break calls that the players can call on their own. I like it, and the players seem to like it, and it's been pretty successful thus far. The season's still young, but they seem to be responding well to it.
Great recruiting weapon when you think of it. Kids like to play the style. The one thing he did say, though, is we don't have Steve Nash, so we haven't put everything into it. But it's fun to watch, certainly explosive. You better be able to score and get back in guard against this team.
Yeah, he borrowed from Mike D'Antoni, and he said to us the other day, Mike is an offensive genius. Really admires his coaching ability on the offensive end of the floor in particular.
What did Mike say about me?
You're just offensive.
Did Mike take any shots at you when you introduced him at the banquet the other night?
Quite a few. Quite a few. His faint attempt at humor hasn't improved over the years.
Mike Krzyzewski now 60 years old, and you can really tell that coaching the Olympic team has rejuvenated his energy. Not that it was ever really down, but he has really enjoyed that experience.
A foul. Oh, on a reach in underneath. Unnecessary.
After Brock grabbed the rebound.
And Nelson with the giveaway.
Boy, a great defensive stand by Illinois out of the timeout. And now the opportunity to score some points with 10 seconds to go in this first half.
Coming in with a shooter now.
Henderson will sit out the last 10 seconds. The foul on Nelson was his first.
And Taylor King, a pretty good stroke, too.
Yeah, you got to find Taylor King because he can drill it from deep. So Illinois has to be aware of where he is.
Brock, 1-1 as that was the 19th foul, and he made the first. King in the ball game. Brock, we mentioned earlier, out of Simeon High School. He mentioned last night the great players who have played for the Illini: Anderson, Nick Anderson, Deion Thomas, Kevin Turner, Bryant Notary, among others. Calvin was also an outstanding center fielder on a baseball team in high school. And the Illini will play it in after the miss. Chance to get into single digits here with 8.2 to go. And Bruce Weber rushes Tisdale to the table.
What a change of fortune. When you think of it, they don't get a good look, a foul, a chance for the two. They get one. Now they get another opportunity.
Nolan Smith back into the ball game. Add an extra quality defender.
Maybe Tisdale low I would go to because they don't have Zubek in there versus him popping out.
Duke was up by 17. It's now 8 as Brock scores. There is time for the Blue Devils. Shire aware of the time. A deep one at the buzzer. No! It hung on the rim but would not fall.
Well, how about the toughness of Illinois the last minute and a half?
Coming back, showing that competitive nature.
Henderson and Nelson combined for half of the Duke Blue Devil points, but Illinois went on an 11-2 run over the last 2 minutes to make it a game at the half. 44-36 at the break. Now Scott, Tom, and Doug in the studio, the UPS halftime report.
All right, Sean, so the Dukies in search of their 54th consecutive non-conference victory and an 8-point lead at the half. And it looked like, Coach, it was going to be a lot worse than that. What was the key to that second 10-minute surge by Duke?
Well, the wing players just played spectacularly, and they made shots, and they drove the ball to the basket. Illinois couldn't stop them. They went on a 24-9 run, and then Illinois came back 11-2 to make it close. Now, Illinois has a shot. It was almost over, but I don't think so now.
Hey, Henderson and Nelson, just the inability for Illinois to keep Henderson and Nelson out of the lane so far has created shots not only for Henderson and Nelson, they combined for 22 points, but also for their teammates driving, kicking it out.
And DeMarcus Nelson, outstanding senior for Duke. But you know what? Seems like we don't give love to seniors around here. It's all about the freshmen. We'll talk lots more about some of the great freshmen in the land in this halftime report. Also, the upper class dominated team at Marquette. It's the
windbreaker is bizarre. You have to admit the windbreaker for Tom Crean was the only mistake made by Marquette today was the windbreaker by
Somebody should have fixed his collar. I mean, he has 4 assistants, for God's sakes.
Dominique James, big day. He had 18. Usman Barrow really contributing at both ends.
Absolutely, and if the big guys play good for Marquette, that really gives them, the leg up on people because their guards are terrific.
Yeah, Oklahoma State, Doug, just didn't show up today.
No, they were beaten in every sense of the word. Game wasn't as close as 30 points. Marquette, exceptional defensively, exceptionally athletic, and today they shot the ball well, finally exploded offensively. Something I think Marquette fans have been waiting for the whole season. Saw it all. Perfect game for Marquette.
Almost 70% from 3.
Well, I mentioned the fabulous Frosh, and of course, the kids are all right. I think that's for you, Coach. We're all about the rock and roll references tonight. It's Kevin Love. It's Eric Gordon front and center on the UPS halftime.
Honor seniors. We're on TV.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. For all your home improvement needs, Lowe's. Let's build something together. And Coca-Cola. Halftime report.
Championship game of the CBE Classic over on ESPN2, and well, the Bruins didn't get the wake-up call, I guess, in Kansas City. 6-0 Michigan State, and Kevin Love already left briefly with a bloody nose.
Don't worry, Michigan State's not running away and hiding. Over-under in this one's got to be like 85, 86.
Spartans have actually scored 80 or more in every game this year. Probably not today.
Remember this, lions sleep 18 hours a day. When they wake up, they're still the king of the jungle.
How does that at all fit? How does that reference at all fit?
Michigan State's up too many too early.
Oh, okay.
Number 3, Memphis in a rout over Arkansas State. Well, Willie Kemp with 22. And again, Derrick Rowe is one of the great freshmen in the land running the show for the Tigers. Doesn't need to score a lot for this team.
Donnell Mack, I think, fitting in nicely in Jeremy Hunt's role last year. Another lefty coming off the bench, hitting threes.
Let's talk Eric Gordon as number 8 Indiana takes on UNC Wilmington, and the kid can do it from any spot on the floor. 6'4", range out to well about there.
As the kids like to say, dripping wet.
Wow.
You are so fresh, dog. DJ White had a dozen.
I did a lot of homework this summer, you can tell, huh?
Dripping wet was nice.
Ooh.
Not as nice as that.
No, not as nice as that. Gordon with 30.6 rips.
So spectacular.
95.
How's that be an Illinois fan, all right? How's that be an Illinois fan?
February 7th, they'll be in Champaign.
I mean, you got an Illinois kid playing well for Duke and Shire. Now you got to run the Indiana highlight.
Well, another outstanding freshman in the Big Ten will be on display tomorrow night on ESPN2. That'd be the semifinals of the NIT season tip-off. Of course, Ohio State and Syracuse guys, and Kostas Koufos, Doug. And, you know, Ohio State lost a ton last year, starting with Greg Oden. but the cupboard is far from bare.
Oh, cupboard is far from bare. I mean, listen, they have Kostas Koufos, legit 7-footer, a kid that many believe will be a lottery pick. And they have a lot of work to do. They've struggled. They lost to Finley. I mean, who doesn't fear Finley when they come into your building?
Clearly.
David Lighty back. Expectations are that he'll be a start. Jamar Butler back for a third season with Ohio State. But Koufos is a legit 7-footer. And this is a Syracuse team that is completely different from the Syracuse team you've seen the last couple years. They are speedy. They are athletic. But they don't have the interior girth. It's going to be bigs against guards, and the bigs will be Kostas Koufos for Ohio State.
And Dante Green and Johnny Flynn are a couple of fine freshmen their own selves, and I think they're both making Paul Harris better. And Syracuse is a completely different team, but very athletic, and I think very, very good.
Flynn and Harris, high school teammates. And you're right, Doug, a very interesting, different Syracuse team. Not the girth on the inside, but maybe a little bit more skill, fundamentally sound than we've seen in the past.
Yeah, they're going to be a lot like Duke in that. I think they're going to play a lot faster, a lot more transition basketball, pick up, you know, not as much 2-3 zone as you've seen from Syracuse last couple years. And if you haven't seen Johnny Flynn, you're going to enjoy it. I totally agree with the coach. He's going to make Paul Harris a great player because it'll take Paul Harris and make him just a finisher on the break and a great defender, great offensive rebounder.
Well, you know, if you're doing anything a lot like Duke, you're probably doing it well. Case in point tonight. Gerald Henderson's been tremendous. He and DeMarcus Nelson have combined for 22 of the Duke 44. More from the studio.
I love it!
This halftime report is delivered by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Hey, Bill, how are you? Good to see you.
And welcome back to Feast Week presented by Lowe's as Jay Billis continues to greet his admirers here at halftime. Second semifinal of the day at the EA Sports Valley Invitational. And quite a game. Illinois had a 6-point lead. Duke tied it at 18 and then went on the 24-7 run. And Illinois in the last couple of minutes of the half, an 11-2 run to get back within 8 at the break. And it was clear, Jay, that your alma mater's plan, or at least a big part of it, was to attack the basket. They were getting the ball to the hoop from all over.
Well, that's the way they have been doing it over the years, is putting the ball on the floor and attacking the rim and trying to put the opposing team in a position to foul them. And they can kick it to an open shooter. DeMarcus Nelson and Gerald Henderson in particular did a good job of attacking the 10. But the offensive rebounding prowess of Illinois really was a big factor in that first half. 11 offensive rebounds, 17 second chance points. I'll tell you, Calvin Brock did a really nice job, Bill, when he came into the ballgame.
Yeah, and I think you countered that with Duke's 2-3 zone with man-to-man principles. Really got them in control of the lead. Of course, they used to dribble drive when you played because they didn't have much of a factor down in the little box there. But now they got some people up front.
The donut team with the hole in the middle, is that what you're trying to say?
No. In jest.
Duke ball to begin the second half. Greg Paulus. And now DeMarcus Nelson. Gerald Henderson out there with Lance Thomas and Kyle Singler to begin the half. Henderson a miss and Chester Frazier the rebound.
A good defense by Calvin Brock, really challenging that Gerald Henderson pull-up.
Dimitri McCamey's pass deflected away by Henderson. Pruitt's on the floor and Illinois gets a timeout. Illinois out of the timeout with 2 timeouts left. The first possession of the second half, trying to continue the run that ended the first half. And that's a way to do it. Calvin Brock for 3.
And that was all set up with the little ball screen on one side. It got everybody from Duke to rotate. Paulus tried to go get Brock late. Not his man, but trying to recover.
Calvin Brock really emerging as a go-to guy right now for Illinois.
Singler might have walked, kicked it out to Paulus, missed an open 3. Rebound McCamey, chance for Illinois to get closer still. And they will. Brock underneath to Randall for 2 more. It's a 3-point game.
What a great look. And Brock's such a big influence.
Boy, this Illinois team has a lot of heart.
They were down by 17. Nelson, the soft touch. 13 for the Duke captain.
And Bruce wants him to speed it up. There's the automatic switches on those baseline bumps.
Dimitri McCamey, freshman from Bellwood, Illinois, out of St. Joseph. And Pruitt a little bit short. Nelson knocked it off the 10 to Henderson.
And a good non-call as well.
Henderson turned the corner and then the pull-up.
That's too easy. No show.
Really puts a lot of pressure on a big guy to have to show out on that ball screen.
And there are times Henderson, his movement reminds you of a guy who grew up in his neighborhood, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, very much so. Like effortless almost.
Yes, yeah. So smooth. Frazier, offensive foul.
Thomas really does a great job. He's very active in the back of that defensive position. And here he doesn't lose sight of the ball, steps in, picks it up. Frazier committed to the drive. Gets tagged.
Alert on the help side and getting outside the lane in order to try to stop that drive.
Henderson out for a breather. Only 6 turnovers for Illinois. The foul on Frazier is second. Shire's come back into the game for Henderson. And a travel.
You know, you can't.
Thomas had trouble getting started.
You know, Sean, you can't cross over. I mean, I'm not saying that wasn't the right call, but coaches, some don't even want the kid to try and cross over. They end up calling that walk.
Only 5 turnovers for Duke. It's been a very well-played game by both of these two teams. Mike Tisdale.
Tough shot.
And probably didn't need to take it. Nelson the rebound. And Duke trying to reestablish some momentum here. 3 minutes into the second half. Paulus steps into a 3.
That's more like the delivery we watched the last couple of days.
Anytime you've got a drive, there's a shooter coming across. That's very difficult action to defend. Unconventional cut.
The lead is back to 10. McCamey, he knew that was way off. He went after it and knocked it out of bounds. Knocked it free from Shire.
You see on the drive, the cut across. Everybody tries to help in on the drive inside of the lane. And nobody gets out to Paulus. If you stay with Paulus, it's tougher to stop the drive. You're one-on-one naked.
The dribble collapses the D.
Nelson with Zubek in the game trying to screen. Singler's been quiet tonight. That one rattled out. Zubek tipped it into the corner. Tracked down there by Brock.
Well, Singler sets his feet so quickly.
McCamey, considered a top 100 recruit out of high school. And there's Pruitt.
Zubek did the first part of the defense correct. He went over to help, but he just can't recover, and that's not easy to stick your guy Pruitt.
Well, some of the best offense Illinois has had has been a missed shot. They've done a great job on the offensive glass.
Boy, DeMarcus Nelson impressive tonight. 15 points. Paulus went for the steal and didn't get it. That left Frazier open, but he couldn't knock down the 3. Great effort. That's been a story throughout the night. Look out now. Singler and Frazier whooping. Paulus in there as well.
Great job of officiating now. They got right after it.
It's immediate timeout. And Mike Krzyzewski, as you saw, screaming, "Get over here." And let's see if we can determine what touched this off. Frazier didn't like a relatively hard foul there from Singler. Then we're back at the EA Sports Maui Invitational. Tempers flaring a moment ago. Coaches had a couple of minutes to calm the troops down. 10-point game. Duke with the lead. McCamey got stuck in the air and had nowhere to throw it. Here's Paulus the other way. And he turned it right back over to Frazier. Brock in transition. Short. Randall in the right place.
Boy, he ran the floor. He benefited by a great effort. And once again, Brock, Good pull-up, wasn't going to charge, didn't knock it down, but smart play.
And a bad pass by Paulus, but Illinois continues to gang rebound on the offensive end. 21 second chance points for the Illini.
Nelson inside to Thomas. Ooh. Brock says no way.
The hands are so quick. Randall's playing pretty smart, by the way, not to get involved.
Looked like he got Thomas across the arm. Second foul. Bruce Weber doesn't think so. So now Lance Thomas. McDonald's All-American at St. Benedict's. He's from Scotch Plains, New Jersey. What part of New Jersey is that?
North Jersey.
Sounds nice.
Very pretty town.
Yeah, a name like Scotch Plains. Usually, you know, that'd be nice.
Upper crust. Danny Hurley, of course, great talent. Played at Seton Hall. Bobby's younger brother and an outstanding coach. I mean, he was really respected in his short time in the trenches.
Well, how about the other day we were at the Duke practice and Mike Krzyzewski kept saying yo to his team. Yo.
That's a big Jersey thing, you know.
Yeah, and Jay Billis asked him about it. He said, Coach is saying yo. Well, I said, yeah, every now and then I get Bobby Hurley's voice in my head.
He said it all
like Bobby Hurley.
He threw a lot of yo's out there when I was playing for him. But great footwork by Sean Pruitt inside. He doesn't get near the credit for that. He's a big, strong left-hander. But that footwork really impressive on the low post.
Trying to improve his free throw shooting. Worked a lot on him. He says it's all about routine. He's going to that dribble, set, and shoot now.
And see the nice, terrific move. Got it sent back, but he stuck with it and picked up the foul.
Pretty good looking, soft delivery.
Yeah. Said last year he used to change his pre-shot routine all the time. Now he's just trying to stick with that 2 dribbles, set, and shoot. If he is a 50% free throw shooter career, he can get a lot better. Illinois as a team can get a lot better. They were terrible from the line last year, 62%.
What a great defensive trip. Exceptional coverage, switched on occasion, pressured the ball.
And the big guy's active. Helping out and then recovering, and that's really the key after you help, is to make certain that you recover quickly.
7 turnovers for Duke, but 3 of them here in this half in a little over 5.5 minutes. 7-point lead for Duke. They led by 17 in the first half.
Illinois needs to look inside.
Well, they had him set up. They didn't get it to the top.
Pruitt, strong move. Looked like the shot slipped out of his hand a bit. Randall and a whistle.
Got Nelson over the back.
Yeah, and what a rebound, too, by Randall. And he's skying, long arms, stretching, grabbing.
I think the more they get the ball inside, the more packed in it is, and Illinois can take advantage not only of the initial shot by a big guy like Pruitt, but their second chance opportunities. That's where they have been absolutely dominant in this game, is on the offensive glass. You have to keep going to it.
McCamey goes to the bench. DeMarcus Nelson, 2 fouls for Duke. 3 team fouls on the Blue Devils here in the second half. 6 minutes played in this second half. The winner plays in the EA Sports Maui Invitational Championship game tomorrow night against Marquette. A 30-point winner earlier today over Oklahoma State. After the Alexander miss. A foul on the rebounding action, and it's going against Pruitt.
Tried to crash. They were in the throes of a nice series there, Jay. They had a double screen, then they had a post screen on the other side, but they never got it where the ball reversed properly.
Had a terrific drive by Alexander. He just couldn't finish it.
Well, here comes Duke with Nolan Smith now running the show, guarded by Frazier. John Shire with Trent Meacham has just checked in on him. Kyle Singler. Gerald Henderson so smooth again.
What a pull-up. I mean, he elevates and he sort of lingers, too, to just get the proper release.
Shoots it at the top of his jump.
Here's Meacham, the transfer from Dayton. He fed it in to Pruitt. He got bumped a bit by Lance Thomas. He tells his teammates on the bench, I'm all right, I'm all right. It's his third foul. He wants to stay in with 3.
How pretty is that? And look how high. He only goes up as high as he has to, too, on that release. Henderson having a solid game.
Just so explosive athletically.
From Marion, Pennsylvania. Mentioned same area that produced Kobe Bryant. Barreled out of the Episcopal Academy. Pruitt and the Illini faithful thought he was fouled. Singler with the 6'10" Pruitt guarding him. Henderson open for 3. Long rebound off to Frazier, and here comes Illinois. The fake by Frazier in the charge. There were 2 defenders there, and he probably would have been better served to pass that off. It's his 3rd foul.
Not the best judgment. And Bruce not even arguing over the call. All out at some point, a decision. Pass it, jump stop, don't get involved.
So Frazier will take a seat with 12:42 to go. He didn't have a turnover last night. He's at 4 in this ball game. A little more intense defensively rather than playing against that Arizona State zone that they faced last night. Very tough pass, and Zubek couldn't handle the feed from Singler.
It's got to be right to Zubek, though. Can't lead him, Jay.
He's still got to catch it.
And Mike Davis fouled off a nice pass to the block from Trent Meacham. 3 fouls now on Brian Zubek. 5 team fouls on Duke.
A lot of inexperience on the floor right now for Illinois. They're going to have to handle the pressure and continue to make good decisions.
We told the story last night. Davis out of Alexandria, Virginia, was going to go to prep school. Didn't like his options collegiately, but had a great summer of AAU ball. Illinois had some interest. He came for a visit over a weekend late in the summer. Matter of fact, classes started 5 days later. He committed to Illinois, went home, grabbed his stuff, came back and started classes 5 days later. They're going to redshirt him, but then he was so impressive in the preseason they decided not to.
Singler so good with that jab step.
Anarichin, McCamey.
And Henderson really sticks his head in there. He pries with the bounce. Coached by Dan Doherty at Episcopal.
He puts himself in a position to be fouled. So quick with that first step, and we've seen him elevate for short mid-range jumpers. We've seen him get all the way to the 10.
And Randall getting that blow with the 3. Save him a little bit.
McCamey's foul, his 2nd and the team's 5th, and the 3 out of the corner by Shire.
Well, you always have to be aware when you're playing against Duke of the inbound man.
7 for Shire, the lead back to 11. McCamey guarded by fellow freshman Smith. Illinois 2 for its last 12 from the floor. Brock, nice hit. Knocked out of bounds by Henderson. And immediate timeout. Duke. Perfect all time at Maui and leading this one by 11. Mike Krzyzewski looking for career win number 779. They would move him into a tie on the all-time wins list for 8th with Lou Henson, who remains the all-time winningest coach in Illinois history. 21 years in Champaign, 423 wins at Illinois. Also coached at Hardin-Simmons and New Mexico State. Illinois really became a national power under Henson, going to the tournament 11 times, including to the Final Four in 1989 when they won 31 games.
I think Jimmy Collins played for him, Jay. Later on became an assistant. Oh, boy.
And Bruce Weber's jaw is on the floor. Doesn't like the call, but hadn't really said much about it. Just a look of surprise on his face.
He was aghast at the call.
Just got him with,
well, I don't know, a little drag down too. Wasn't a pretty situation either way.
He was getting crowded trying to get him off him.
Yeah.
Second foul on Trent Meacham. And Jamar Smith would have been their 2 guard in all likelihood this year, but he's out for the year after that alcohol-related car accident last February. So the onus is on Meacham. Play more 2 guard this year. He's played some point for them as well in the past. And Brock just called for his 3rd foul for Illinois, and that is the team's 7th. So it's a 1-and-1 opportunity for DeMarcus Nelson.
That was interesting. Why don't you just give him the ball back? I don't think it was that bad a foul. And I thought it may have been a double tick.
Yeah, the problem was there was a little push off first. They let go.
Okay.
DeMarcus Nelson pushed off, and then Brock came over him. So I think it should have been, both of them should have been let go.
Nelson short-armed the front end. Alexander the rebound, and here comes McCamey.
Oh, nice ball. He just gave Brock, made a great back cut.
Brock looking for Pruitt. He was doubled and found Frazier instead.
Duke's pressure defense has been really tough for Illinois to solve. Good moves.
This kid.
Excellent off. Did everything but score. Nelson, Singler wanted it as he ran on the floor and scored. Caught it and had to throw it up quickly as he was almost all the way into the basket.
How tough the kid. He took everybody out. Ball boys, our cameraman, and we got a little injury too.
Well, Rodney Alexander slow to get up, but what a catch and finish by Kyle Singler.
It is amazing that the speed he was running to make it soft enough, huh?
Oh, spectacular.
6th all-time leading scorer in Oregon high school history. 2,207 points. Their state championship squad at South Medford.
Let's go.
Alexander appears to be okay. And here come the Illini down by 13. 10:35 to go. The winner will play Marquette in tomorrow night's championship game. And a hand check called. And DeMarcus Nelson, I believe.
Well, you know what makes them tough is Nelson and Henderson can play up. They can play bigger guys because they're so strong and quick. And really tough to take advantage of them.
And one of the underrated or things that isn't talked about so much about Nelson's ability to guard is how long his arms are. He's got a wingspan of a 7-footer.
He looks like he would be a terrific defensive back in the National Football League with that build.
He is put together.
Guy can scratch his knees without bending down. What a great play.
They go for the fake. They'd run that screen, hop to the corner, fake step, and go to the rim.
And the foul on Lance Thomas is his 4th now after Nelson picked up his 2nd only seconds ago.
Just threw it right over Lance Thomas's ear. He was in pretty good defensive position, but awfully difficult with your back to the ball to be able to get up and knock that away. Good pass and a near great finish by Randall.
Bruce has spelled Randall very well. And a little rest, no problems foul-wise, get him back in.
Well, both these teams are very deep. And Duke can go 11 deep. Illinois can go 12 deep, maybe more.
15 deep last night.
Yeah, they are down. I mean, they can get all the way to the bottom and still have some talent.
Randall makes the free throws. He's already earned a degree in agri-finance, working toward a master's. And 36 fouls called in this game already. Not quite 30 minutes of action.
I love
the bucket.
And Sean, I love they go inside because Randall with the 3.
Whoa. Alexander went way up to dunk it, and then Pruitt muscled up a putback with the left hand.
And bounce the ball at the end. Zubek's got to get that ball, though. That's one, when you're resting out, you've got to come up with it. You've got to outwork the guy. Pruitt wants it more, and I think he wanted the technical on that ball bounce, you know?
He's probably thinking he needs to be careful. He's going to get a technical as Mark Whitehead has just put the ball on his hip, the official, and is staring at Bruce Weber. Pruitt short with the first. We mentioned that routine, dribble, set, and shoot. Illinois made only 424 free throws last year. By contrast, Ohio State made 560 and Wisconsin 583.
Well, Bruce Weber is just telling Sean Pruitt to breathe. You know, he wants him to be relaxed up there. You don't have to have perfect mechanics. You just have to be able to repeat your stroke.
Randall and Singler got tangled up. They're going to give it to Randall. And that's his fourth.
You know, Singler did a good job of running through the cut and forced the call.
He's a smart player.
He really is. He's very clever in the post on those duck-ins. He has very good feet and a very good understanding of the game. You know, even when he's on the perimeter, his jab step keeps the defender off balance, and he keeps defenders off balance in the post as well. And if you can keep Brian Randall off balance,
you're doing a heck of a job.
You got game, because Brian Randall is a great defensive player. Not good, great.
You know, he's very comfortable when he drives the baseline and it closes up, too. A lot of guys will panic. He'll make the right decision.
Singler, rare miss from the free throw line, but it came back out to Paulus.
Henderson knocked it back.
And now Henderson's open for three that rattles in.
Nice decision by Paulus in the lane.
18 for Gerald Henderson.
Illinois in a position now where they need to respond.
And they go into Pruitt, who doesn't get the roll. Oh, bodies fly again.
And Henderson just so strong. Goodness. He can take them all down.
And Singler is called for that foul, and it's his fourth. So foul difficulties an issue now. Singler and Thomas have 4 each.
Illinois has had some success getting the ball inside. And they continue to pound the offensive glass. They need to keep doing it. It's like body blows in a championship fight.
Rodney Alexander made the first free throw. Singler will go out with his 4 fouls. Thomas continues to play with 4. 3 points for Alexander off his 17 last night against Arizona State. Mike Davis comes back in. Alexander takes a seat.
You know, Mike Davis doesn't have a ton of experience, but he's a big-time athlete.
You played either one of these teams, you got to have some personnel, though. Rotating bodies to be fresh.
Paulus, tough shot, drifting left, came up well short from 3-point range, and it's Frazier the other way, and now McCamey.
Look at that play. What a read.
Well, he just telegraphed it. Should have given it to him right away. He's wide open.
Trying to get it to Pruitt. Nelson deflected it, and Mike Krzyzewski wants a timeout. With 8:59 to go, 3 timeouts left for Duke. That's what the hash marks above the team name represent. Well, the winner of this game will play Marquette, a 30-point winner, as they were outstanding on both ends of the floor. Jerry Tarkanian came by to our broadcast position between games, said he can't remember the last time he watched a team defend like that for 40 minutes.
I can't either. I mean, it was a stunning performance with pressure on the ball, going after loose balls. They got out-rebounded in their game against Chaminade and came back and out-rebounded Oklahoma State 43-28. And they were everywhere. Marquette, just a fabulous performance.
And surprisingly, they had 19 turnovers. You know, not valuing the ball, but the energy and the aggressive style of play was extraordinary to watch.
Play of their big guys. Usman Barrow had a great game. But
sure did.
Jarrell McNeil, Dominique James, Wesley Matthews, they were terrific. And great performances off the bench from Maurice Acker and David Kubian.
Barrow with those 10 rebounds.
And Krzyzewski taking that timeout to try to calm his team down a bit. Let them know you are up by 13. No need to go too fast.
Great teaching tool these 3 days. You know, the time you have it with players. Level of competition. You got 5.
Great job defensively by Illinois.
Wow.
Not exactly what Coach K had in mind when he called the timeout.
No. Well, you know, Bruce Weber got to talk in his timeout too. And he did a heck of a job getting his team ready to defend.
Once again, nice duck in. Zubek at a disadvantage. Got to be a jump, yeah.
Yep. Zubek, the held ball, and Illinois will keep it.
They give Zubek a lot of help down there. Once his guy gets it, if he could just boost him out a little bit further, he would assist his team's defense.
Brock ran very hard to get open for that shot.
One thing Calvin Brock is, he's a really good athlete. Against Hawaii, he had 2 tip jams toward the end of the first half. And you talked about him, Sean, hitting the game winner. But he can put the ball on the deck, and he's really improved his pull-up game.
And just to run, as Sean said, I mean, he put it in overdrive just to get the inbound.
He's actually bulked up to have that body he has right now. He is thin, but he's clearly a very well-conditioned athlete. Missed the first free throw. The foul on DeMarcus Nelson was his 4th. So 3 Blue Devils now with 4 fouls apiece. 3 starters, Thomas, Singler, and Nelson.
It's still a long way to go. That means that Illinois can put the ball on the deck too and put the Blue Devils in a position to foul.
10 team fouls against Duke in this half, so the double bonus the rest of the way for Illinois. As we mentioned, free throw woes last year at 62%, worst in the Big Ten.
Nice D there.
And it's Zubek in the right spot after Henderson's shot was deflected outside.
Essentially functioning as a pass.
There's Brock again, working hard, running hard to get in position to score, but he didn't. Paulus and Frazier. Frazier thought it was a held ball. John Hughes says it's a foul. And that's 4 on Frazier. So Frazier and Randall with 4 each for Illinois. And Brock has 3. Pruitt has 3.
This is the way to go after a ball. Both guys, though, I love it. It may have been a nice situation for a jump ball.
Yeah, that's obviously a tough call for Chester Frazier. Thought he had all ball. He was right there. There was not any contact body-wise that would have.
No. Looked pretty clean.
And McCamey in now, and Jordan on the floor to run the show a little bit.
First appearance of the ball game for Jeff Jordan, the 19-year-old freshman. Scored his first career point last night. Walk-on out of Loyola Academy, Highland Park, Illinois. And as we noted last night, the son of Michael Jordan, who is here again tonight.
Changed the shirt, huh?
Yeah, he's going blue. He had orange and John last night.
Once you get closer to that Carolina blue, maybe, huh?
Still a long way off, isn't it?
Yeah, quite a ways.
Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, and Roy G. Biv over there at the end of the bench. Paulus, the free throw. 16-point lead.
2-3 zone right now for Duke.
And this spread the game in the first half.
Giving him a different look, slowing him down a little bit, maybe force him to use more clock to get a good shot.
Plus the foul problems and stamina. Rebounding the key.
4 freshmen on the floor right now for Illinois, down by 16 with under 8 to go, and the travel is the 11th turnover for the Illini. 70-54 in favor of Duke as we return it to the studio and Scott Reese.
All right, John, over on ESPN2, it's the finals of the CBE Classic, UCLA, Michigan State. The Sparties, good ball movement. Raymond Morgan, nice look to Marquise Gray for the flush. And then more sharing of the basketball. Travis Walton finds his man Tom Herzog underneath. Right now they've gone to the half. It is 36-25. And a possible stunner with Pac-10 Oregon down 10 at St. Mary's. 15 minutes and change to go. Back to Maui after this.
This has been a physical contribution to Feast Week. Illinois and Duke, hard fought. The intensity of a NCAA tournament game here in an early season tournament, the EA Sports Maui Invitational. Duke's been to 12 straight NCAA tournaments. Illinois has been to school record 8 in a row.
Two great programs, and Duke shooting the ball extremely well in the second half, over 60% in the second 20 minutes.
Duke by 16, 7.5 to go.
Boy, they really get the ball side to side.
Shire, 7 on the shot clock. Shire, the scoop that never got up to the rim. And Tisdale pulls it away, and now Jeff Jordan.
Well, he has shown poise and tape. You know, those exhibition games where he got more minutes. Knows how to run a team.
And he was treated like a celebrity in Canada, just for being the son of a major celebrity. Bruce Weber said Jeff Jordan was getting a lot of media requests during their Labor Day tour, and they played 3 Canadian teams in the Toronto area.
I bet he took some heat over that.
I like the quote from Dimitri McCabe. He said Jeff Jordan is just a normal kid with a big bank account.
Don't we all want to be that?
Well, your kids are.
Well, Sean's got one of the two.
Yeah, I'm working on the bank account now.
I didn't have that in mind.
4 fouls on Brock. There's Jeff Jordan, his sister Jasmine Thier cheering him on. Gerald Henderson. A number of players in this game who have dads with the NBA ties. Mentioned Jamel McMillan of Arizona State. His dad is Nate McMillan.
Wesley Matthews of Marquette.
And even Craig Workentine, the student manager for Arizona State. Her dad is Mark Workentine, the general manager of the Denver Nuggets.
Now you're digging deep.
Yeah. A little zone look forces you to use some clock.
Good pass. And Randall trying to cut into what is now the largest lead of the game. 18 points for Duke, looking like a matchup with Marquette in the final as we approach 6 minutes to go. Where are we on the comeback scale?
I think Illinois is in a little bit of trouble, but they're not going to quit, I can tell you that. Duke looking to run a little bit of clock before they get into a set.
They really favored that little ball screen on the side with the 5-man and the grab on Henderson. Still the strength to deliver.
Oh, he's so strong with the ball.
Duke's won this event 3 times, trying to make it 4. And usually they hammer the opponent. 6 of their 10 wins by 20 points or more, including the victory last night over Princeton. Brock, the first player to foul out. There were a number who were playing with 4, but Brock has accumulated 5. He gets a nice hand, and deservedly so. And these great Illinois fans will have 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists.
Yeah, he did a great job. Brought great energy to his team off the bench. Solid player.
Cuts well. That pull-up jumper. Now I'm looking at Mike over there, having coached against him at Army. And he was an excellent coach then. It's extraordinary what he's been able to achieve. And just amazing. Top of the profession.
And Gerald Henderson's at the line. As he shoots 2, we'll check in with Scott Reese for a Sports Center 30 at 30 update.
All right, Sean, tight race for the National League MVP, but Jimmy Rollins does get the nod over Matt Holliday. The Gold Glover led the league in runs and triples. Second straight fill to win it following Ryan Howard last year. And the U.S. Attorney's Office files a motion for a restraining order to freeze more than $900,000 of Michael Vick's assets for the cost of maintaining 53 pit bulls seized at his dogfighting operation. Sports Center after the game, and stay current with ESPN News. Sean?
Amazing, huh?
It's expensive.
How about the zone? They're not now, but how about the zone being the factor?
Missed a little jump hook. Alexander whipped it outside to Frazier. Meacham a 3 they desperately need. And they just can't get anything to drop. They made their first 2 shots of the half, Illinois. They are 2 for 21 since. And Meacham is bumped, and it falls off. And you wonder about fatigue. In the long trip out here, they played Friday night, a tough game in Hawaii. Rallied from double digits down to win over in Honolulu. Played here last night, and this has been a very intense game tonight.
So deep, though. I mean, they really, the effort on both teams on that little play, and this gives you March. I mean, it's just wonderful to watch.
Yeah, both these teams have really gone after it hard. I think one of the issues has been for Illinois, Duke's pressure has pushed them a little bit further out on the floor than they want to be. So all of a sudden a drive, instead of being a one dribble drive, it's two.
And the screens are higher out.
Screens are high, and instead of a 15-foot pass, now it's 18. That gives the Duke defense more of a chance to recover. And I think Illinois had a tough time finishing some plays. They had some opportunities inside, didn't absorb some contact, and maybe didn't finish some plays they should have.
No, I think it's a great test for them. They are going to be a terrific team.
No question.
They're under the radar in the Big Ten too. Nobody's mentioning them.
I think Illinois and Wisconsin are two of the undervalued teams in the Big Ten, and Duke's going to get a shot at Wisconsin in that Big Ten ACC Challenge. I think that one's in Cameron Indoor Stadium.
And most people talking about Indiana, Michigan State, Ohio State.
Oh, how about that? Now that's strength, by the way.
Kobe-esque again. Just reminds me of Kobe.
Very similar.
Back to the zone after the make.
23 for Gerald Henderson. Sports Center coming up next on ESPN.
And the bad gamble. Thomas will see that in tape. He opened it up, caused a problem for Zubek.
Foul on Zubek, his fourth.
This is one guy, Brian Randall, that Illinois has to keep healthy throughout the entire season. He is a key for Illinois' high-level success. I mean, they've been successful when he's been out as well, but they haven't been as successful as they can be with him in there.
And keeping him in the game, too, foul-wise.
Absolutely.
He can't afford to keep nickel-dimers, and gets him in the hole.
And he's already graduated. I think another very impressive aspect of Bruce Weber's coaching, all 12 seniors who have completed their eligibility at Illinois since he's been there have graduated.
And he's legit, too. I mean,
when you watch him in practice, he is a terrific basketball coach. He's built a great program here.
Sound. They respond to him.
Timeout. Paulus got in a bit of difficulty. They have great fans. You know, we were talking about that earlier. Over the last 8+ years, they're 108-7 at home. And we were there a couple of years ago for that hyped game against Wake Forest early in the year, and that was the loudest building I can ever remember being in.
Yeah, Assembly Hall in Champaign is a great building. And I love it when they run the flags in the upper concourse during timeouts, and the Orange Crush that they have, their student section. Just a great support and a terrific atmosphere. If you're going to win in that building,
you got to be pretty darn good.
You got to play great.
Very charity-minded, the Orange Crush, too.
Yep.
57-5 at home under Bruce Weber. 108-7, as we mentioned, the last 8+ years.
Quite a night chart underneath Bruce Weber's name there.
Yeah, how about the numbers? 112 wins in his first 4 seasons, most ever by a Big Ten coach. You know, all the great coaches who have coached in that conference.
Well, this blending this year will be fun for him. He's got some people, a lot of numbers, a lot of quality.
That's the numbers in this half. The field goal shooting made their first 2 shots in a nice cold sense. Shot clock is about to run out. Shire has to heave one with Meacham defending, and Randall rips it down for Illinois. Time running out on the Illini. 4 minutes to go. They're down by 18. Randall very strong.
Strong and quick.
They've got the ball inside very well tonight. Pruitt was the main beneficiary.
16 for Randall.
And Duke knows how to put your way, huh? Get it down to around 10 before there's action.
Yeah, they keep it spread and take the clock down and then get into something. And they're not really calling sets as much as they used to, just actions. And
Mike's saying he was pushed into the screen.
Singler's just fouled out. Coach K's not real happy about that. Henderson a dunk. We'll find out if the lead is insurmountable from Jay when we come back.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the Maui Visitors Bureau and the Magic of the Isles of Maui, Molokai, and Lanai, Verizon Wireless, and a diamond is forever.
Just another gorgeous night in Maui.
Oh, rubbing it in.
Yeah, that's making Bill a little thirsty just looking at that picture.
You guys take it the rest of the way.
You going to be Phil Rizzuto, head to the bridge? Well, Jay, is this an insurmountable lead? Or insurmountable, as some people pronounce it?
It's happened before. And you know Illinois is not going to quit.
Yeah. Remember in the tournament a few years ago, they looked like they were dead and buried on the verge of going to the Final Four against Arizona. And now to one of the most dramatic comebacks we've ever seen. Meacham, the bucket.
Speaking of Phil Rizzuto, we have a request here of Bill Hinsdale from Burr Ridge, Illinois. A dear friend of ours. It's his birthday, and he wants to say hello to his new granddaughter, Gabriella Rose. You brought the name up.
Taking requests.
Oh, here we go. 15 to shoot. Duke trying to run time off the clock under 2.5 to go.
Oh, how he elevates, huh? You can't block that. And challenge it even.
Shy of the offensive rebound. We're heading for a Duke-Marquette matchup in the final. They met in the finals of last year's CBE Classic in Kansas City. A game won by Marquette 73-62. This is a more athletic Duke team that you would think would match up better with that athletic three-guard backcourt of McNeil, Matthews, and James.
Boy, Shire really does a nice job taking the pressure off the guards. I know that ended up in a turnover over in the corner, but he's got that point forward mentality.
Frazier would like to be moving more quickly, but Paulus is defending. Frazier, a very deep three, and Bruce Weber will use one of his 2 remaining timeouts.
Boy, really squared himself nicely coming off that baseline action.
Well, he really has some range. That was deep.
That was deep.
Ooh. And they really didn't get too many open looks all night. And look how far they get this one. Now, this one you put a hand on. Oh, goodness, huh?
Paulus was slow getting out to it. Just got hung up on that screen and really didn't fight through it. Didn't get any help from the screener's defender.
Well, nice shooting form there by Chester Frazier. The form wasn't always that good on Sunday morning near the beach at the Westin Maui as the coaches for the EA Sports Maui Invitational participated in a charity free throw contest raising money for local school initiatives on the island of Maui. They were matched up with local students who also demonstrated their shooting prowess. And in the end, it was Coach K showing the smooth stroke. He celebrated with Maui's Johnny McMahon and Brian Mobilson from EA Sports.
Did he take the check?
He doesn't need that check.
Never seen him give one back.
It wasn't high enough. He gave it back. He wins everything.
He's a winner.
Yeah, he sure is.
Well, John Shire won the EA Sports video game competition, and this is like the par 3 tournament where nobody's ever won both. I don't even know the history of it.
Oh, the Masters, very good.
Yeah, it's not.
You used to win the
know.
Masters. You should know.
Traditionally, not good traditionally to win the coach's shooting thing or have your player win the video game contest. Bodes well for Marquette tomorrow. What do you think about a Duke-Marquette matchup?
Marquette's guards are so good off the dribble, and they do such a good job defensively. I mean, the defensive job we saw from Marquette today against Oklahoma State and the defensive job we saw, I think, from Duke against Illinois would be a terrific matchup tomorrow.
I think there'll be a little 2-3 zone against Marquette at strategic times. Force them to take deeper shots, get some pinch on the dribble.
Still some time left in this one. If you get a quick turnover and a 3.
They're not at a full 10 on the Billis insurmountability scale.
How about John? I told you, this kid handles the ball extremely. Now, this one you remember, point forward, Paul Pressey. Remember that name, folks?
Yeah, played at Tulsa.
First played with the Bucks with Don Nelson, who I feel was the first guy that totally took in Frazier.
They called a foul on Chester Frazier away from the ball. Wow.
Reverend Paulus, that's it? Is that the number?
Yep.
Frazier has fouled out with 7 points, 9 rebounds from the guard spot. 6'2", 190, Chester Frazier. Lost his dad, Chester Sr., during the last season. Very tough year for him. He was emotionally distraught after the car accident that rocked this program last February. He lost his dad last year as well.
Tough kid and a really good player.
And they will enjoy this team this year, I think. They're just going to get better and better. This was just a tough group to compete against this early as they blend the talent.
Paulus has 9 points. In all likelihood, barring a dramatic development here in the last minute 12, Illinois will play in the 3rd place game and take on Oklahoma State.
This Duke team's solid at every spot. They don't have a lot of size. The one thing that is an issue for them is rebounding. And they get badly out-rebounded in this ball game tonight.
As you see the elevation there. Now the Alexander soaring.
Of course, the question when you play at Duke is, are they national championship good? Because that's really the standard that's been set in this program. They haven't won one since 2001. DeMarcus Nelson, with his last chance, he said, I want to be remembered as a winner. And really, in the lore of Duke basketball, to be the ultimate winner, you have to win a national championship.
They'll be in the mix. I mean, they're not.
I don't think there's. I'm not sure there's anybody out there that's truly great, at least right now. I would put North Carolina and Memphis up there. UCLA when they're healthy. They're not healthy right now, not playing with Darren Collison. James Keefe is still out. Michael Roll is still out with that ruptured plantar fasciitis injury.
I haven't seen Louisville yet. I think they're going to be pretty good. Georgetown, we know, with Hibbert and company, with replenishing the guard situation to help Wallace out.
Wouldn't you say there are a dozen teams maybe that are, I'd say, really, really good, and then there are a couple dozen after that that can beat anybody.
Right. And, you know, watching Duke, I think you would agree they're better than I think we thought they were coming in here. Now, Jay may have had an opportunity to see the practice. Wow, they elevate.
He got up there and got 2 hands on that block.
Rodney Alexander wound up with a bucket.
That's kind of Grant Hill-esque.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, he's much smaller than Grant Hill was height-wise, but much more powerful of an athlete. And I think the graceful way he goes about it reminds me of Grant.
So Nolan Smith goes to the line. Missed the first of 2. Neil Everett and Scott Van Pelt standing by with Sports Center here on ESPN. March Madness in November. The NFL investigating the Packers. Bounties being placed apparently. And Nick Saban involved in some controversial comments at his press conference. Did you hear them? I did. Yeah, I think it's a big deal about nothing, really. I don't think he meant to equate losing football games to 9/11. No. Was really probably a poor analogy on his part, but anyway, McCamey the miss, and Duke is going to continue to dominate here at the EA Sports Maui Invitational. They've now won 11 games out of 11 in their 4 trips here. And this is actually a close game by the standards they'd set. They'd won the previous 10 by an average of 19.5 per game. It'll be their 9th double-digit win out of the 11 in Maui. And they'll try to win their 4th championship in this event tomorrow. Final score in this one, Duke 79, Illinois 66. Marquette and Duke tomorrow, a rematch of a game last year won by Marquette. That's 10 o'clock Eastern time right here on ESPN. Sports Center is coming up next. If you want more college hoops, UCLA and Michigan State right now on ESPN2. For Bill Raftery, Jay Billis and our ESPN crew, Sean McDonough saying aloha and mahalo from Maui. The preceding has been an exclusive presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.